I'm Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. My website is www.mahdishaheebsher.com. I think one of my interests in the world, as Mahdi Shaheeb Sher, is South Africa. I think that South Africa is quite important in the world at the moment, especially for the global economy and how it's having to deal with some of its challenges. I think with South Africa, it is very much kind of more advanced as an economy. I think it has become more advanced as an economy over the past 15 years. I think if you look at the kind of countries that the global economy depends on at the moment, it's countries like Australia, South Africa, Canada. It's also China, India, and America, obviously, as the leading economy. I don't think Japan is that important anymore for the global economy, and I don't think maybe some of the European countries are that important for the global economy anymore, especially Spain, Italy and Greece, and maybe Great Britain as well, now that it's had Brexit and an exit from the European Union. I think Great Britain has gone down a similar kind of fate as Spain and Greece when those two countries exited from the European Union. And I think Great Britain is coming to some difficult challenges at the moment as a result from its exit from the European Union. It is very unfortunate and tragic to have to see the squalor that Great Britain is having to find itself in following the Brexit and exit from Europe. But it does look very similar to Spain and Greece when those countries exited from Europe. So I think Great Britain in particular is kind of dealing with some tough challenges economically with the British economy. I think that it was expecting to be quite strong as an economy with its own resources and relationships, especially trade relationships, perhaps with America and things. But I think the reality that we've come to see in how Great Britain is having to deal with the challenges of Brexit and the exit from the European Union is kind of like an obliteration of its economy from nowhere. It's kind of completely lost any growth or strength, and I think that's the key word. It seems to have lost any strength that it was expecting to perhaps use to develop its economy following Brexit. So I think this absence of strength in the British economy has kind of shocked a lot of countries in the world in how Great Britain is having to come to terms with its status as a country following Brexit and its exit from the European Union. And I think that the probability is, the all likelihood is that Great Britain is likely to follow Spain and Greece in similar conditions and challenges in trying to adjust its economy in the face of the giant that is the European Union. I think Great Britain is maybe a small country in the face of a giant which could be the European Union, and that's similar with maybe other countries like Spain, Greece, maybe some of the Nordics, the northern European countries like maybe Sweden and Finland or Norway. So I think it is very shocking to see countries fall like that. But I think especially with South Africa is currently very strong in the global economy, and I think it also has relationships with Great Britain. But I think with South Africa, they do have a strong connection and history with Great Britain. And I think with South Africa, they have a very kind of an active attitude towards the global economy. I think most of the businesses and corporations that the South Africans are kind of engaged with are maybe the mining companies and resources all over Africa as a continent. So I think that's where South Africa draws most of its strength and wealth and economy from, kind of the mining interests of Africa. And I think it does dominate most of the mining kind of wealth in Africa. But I think generally South Africa is more of a rogue nation when it comes to the global economy, because I don't think it's traditionally had much to offer the global economy, other than its position in Africa, and has maybe a trade and shipping route through other countries, and its relationships with maybe America and Australia and Canada as well. So I do have disfavourable opinions about South Africa. I don't quite admire the history and the past that South Africa has with its white farmers or its white settlers and colonialists who've been very aggressive in the kind of domination of the African continent as white people and as white settlers. I think that the potential of South Africa is to introduce a wave of white settlers all over Africa. And I think that could upset the balance of African politics that is doing quite well in Africa. I think we have had good presidents in Africa, like Mugabe, who was an exceptional, I think, president. We've also had Nelson Mandela, who of course was an exceptional president as well, and pioneered the future of South Africa. And I think we've had other strong leaders who managed to create a foundation, a concrete foundation in the African countries to grow on and develop kind of countries within their countries. Excuse me. So I think a lot of these African leaders have done exceptionally well to build their countries with the very little that they have, especially in terms of relationships and allies that other countries take advantage of and benefit of, and of course their resources and wealth as well, which might not be readily available compared to other countries, including Asian countries or South American countries. So I think that we do have some good talent in Africa at the moment in terms of its presidents and things, and that could be something that can be nurtured and built upon, and I think that would be good for Africa in how it's headed, and it could create more positive good for the world. So I think that's something hopeful about Africa that we could look forward to. And I think that one solution to this is to have maybe more of a representation of Africa in maybe South Africa as well, and more of maybe the African values and concerns and interests that Africa has maybe in South Africa as well. And I think that could be built upon as well, and to introduce maybe more African elements to South Africa. And I think this could develop South Africa into maybe more of a positive role model as well in Africa. And I think that's what South Africa should be. It should be a positive role model in Africa, and maybe not a negative role model that it has been with its white farmers and white settlers and white politicians white businesses and corporations. So that's my view about South Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you.